welcome. Thank you, Bonnie. This is Bonnie's last day with us as an official, in an official capacity, but we will be seeing her around. Please extra enjoy her beautiful playing today with me.
And she is showing us the range of the piano, our beautiful piano.
Yes.
Thank you for choosing wonderful music to show us what we'll be missing soon. Thank you, Bonnie.
Just a couple of other announcements. Our outdoor services will be next week, September 5th. The following, on September 12th, our in-gathering service will be outdoors in accordance with guidance from the UUA and with our COVID subcommittee. We will remain indoors and on YouTube through at least our October 10th outdoor service. We invite you, if you haven't followed and subscribed to Toledo Unitarians yet on YouTube, it's a great way to get notifications when we're on. We hope that you are all staying safe, washing your hands, and minding the risk areas you live in currently for COVID and the Delta variant. Our other announcement is we will be having a rummage sale outdoors on Saturday, September 18th, beginning at 10 a.m. Contact us via Facebook or the church office if you'd like details about volunteering, donating, or any other way you'd like to be involved. With that, I have these opening words by Ren Bellevance-Grave. This is in praise of technology and social media. We use this reading for the beginning of service for our August Screen Time series, and it's appropriate to have it again for the final entry this month. In praise of computers and routers and servers and all the hardware and software that can help us build our connectedness. In praise of all the gremlins that live in the machines and bug our programs to help us practice patience. In praise of the trolls who dwell in the internet and push us to live out our first principle in real time. In praise of power surges that eat our data and devour our final draft, for giving us the opportunity to rebuild and remember that our work is as much transient as it is transcendent. In praise of the error page not found, which reminds us that with some people, we need to find new paths to make connections because not everyone uses the same keywords. In praise of servers that drop our connections, which reminds us that all who serve have built-in limits to their capacity. In praise of communication and connection, whether it is face-to-face or Facebook-to-Facebook, we always risk errors, hurt feelings, and misunderstanding. But it is also always worth the risk.
And as Mickey lights our chalice, these words are Apart But Together by Cynthia Landrum. Spirit of life and love, we gather together in different ways this morning. From computer screens, from telephones, from TV screens, we gather, reaching out across the wires, waving from a safe distance to come together in religious community. From living room to bedroom to front porch to backyard, we gather as we are able, ready to be of service to each other, to the world, ready to build the community of hope and of love. As we face this bright morning, we are apart, but we are together, offering our love, our commitment, our hope, and our prayers in service to one another and this world. It is a new way, but an old way, that we come together today. And now I ask you to join me in reciting our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church.
Our hymn today is number 354 in your gray hymnal. We laugh, we cry. We'll be doing 3 verses. We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the to receive, and we believe that sharing is the answer. Our lives are full of wonder, and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills us all with pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends, they will linger on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that the peace we're living is the answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. Then we come together here to make sense of what we find, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a joy being together, and in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
Before I begin story time, I want to let you know that I took my mask off. There are challenges today with my glasses fogging up, and I wasn't seeing well enough. And I did clear this with the person sitting closest to me, with Mickey, to approve that. Yes, I am fully vaccinated, and we're taking the precautions we can, but sometimes the speakers do need a little leeway in order to be able to do what we're trying. Soroya King told this story in the middle of March, but stories are written to be told and retold, aren't they? This is Tiny the God by Becky Brooks. Once upon a time, there was a tiny little itty-bitty, very small, tiny little god named Tiny. She lived her life hearing stories of all the big gods, and, well, let's face it, she was jealous. She knew she needed to think of some kind of special spark of an idea that would make her existence meaningful. After watching humans for a long time, she hit upon something that just might work. Something to make people think, yeah, that Tiny really has got a good idea going. This was it. This was going to make her famous. Ready? Here it is. You are not alone. She took the form of a very light breeze, and in a voice so quiet each person heard it only in their mind, she said, "You are not alone. You are not alone." People loved it. It was perfect because who doesn't want to hear that? Pretty soon, Tiny was comforting people all over with, "You are not alone." Every evening, she took the form of the breeze and whispered it in people's minds, until one day, she encountered someone who wasn't comforted at all. When Miriam heard Tiny's words in her mind, instead of feeling comforted, she felt agitated. Something was just kind of off about it. She kept saying it to herself over and over again, "You are not alone. You are not alone." She tossed and turned. She couldn't sleep. In the morning, she went to read the paper, and instead of skimming everything, she found herself drinking in every single story. She was only halfway through when she found herself crying. "I am not alone," she said. "I am connected to every one of these people. They live in my town and my country and my world. They love their children like I love mine. They're scared sometimes, and so am I. They hurt like I hurt. I am not alone. I can help." Tiny was surprised. It hadn't occurred to her that someone might think of it that way. They kept watch over Miriam. Tiny kept watch over Miriam to monitor this interesting development. Miriam and a coworker met online in a meeting and talked about a law they hoped the Senate would pass. And Tiny noticed when Miriam wrote a letter to her senator about it right away. She noticed that when Miriam turned in her grocery order, she bought a few extra things for her neighbor and left them with a colorful note on their porch. She noticed that Miriam had tears in her eyes when she joined in her congregation's worship on her computer, and she heard her favorite hymn through the small speakers. Miriam got out her phone and made an extra donation to her congregation. She watched as Miriam wrote postcards to friends and family near and far, waved to the dog walkers who passed by her house, and strung out colorful lights in her living room window. But most importantly for Tiny, she noticed when Miriam received a phone call one evening from a friend she hadn't heard from in a long while. His voice was shaking. "I'm having a hard time," he said. He started to tell her about his troubles, but he began to cry. Miriam got herself comfortable in her favorite chair. "Take your time. I'll stay on the line with you. You are not alone. I am here." "I am here." Tiny heard those words like an echo in her mind. "You are not alone. I am here. You are not alone. I am here." In that moment, Tiny knew that she was nothing without Miriam's hands and heart and spirit. And she knew that what she wanted, what the world needed more than anything, was what Miriam had learned to give. So Tiny went to work. Instead of just spending her evenings spreading the gospel of "you are not alone," she spent her night times doing it too, and her mornings and afternoons. Pretty soon she was spending every moment doing it until she became the breeze itself. And that is why there are no paintings of Tiny, no busts or holy books, just a breeze, a low voice, and many, many helping hands loving hands, and caring spirits. You can hear the echo if you listen closely. You are not alone. I am here. When water bottles are left in the desert for those who risk their lives to cross it, you are not alone. I am here. At the bedside of a dying man, you are not alone. I am here. In the jailhouse and the sanctuary, you are not alone. I am here. Separate and together, you are not alone. I am here.
Our anthem today is by Franz Schubert. It's An die Musik, and I have this translation, if you don't speak German, by Richard Wigmore. Beloved art, in how many a bleak hour, when I am enmeshed in life's tumultuous round, have you kindled my heart to the warmth of love and borne me away to a better world. Often a sigh escaping from your heart, a sweet celestial chord, has revealed to me a heaven of happier times. Beloved art, for this I thank you.
Grauen Stunden, wo mich des Lebens wilder Kreis umschrickt, hast du mein Herz zu warmer Liebe entzünden, hast mich in eine bessere Welt entrückt, in eine bessere Welt entrückt. Oft hat ein Seufzer deiner Harfe entflossen, ein süßer, heiliger Akkord von dir. Den Himmel bessere Zeiten mir erschlossen, du holde Kunst, ich danke dir dafür. Du holde Kunst, ich danke dir.
Now please join me for a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer. I learned that long ago, member Carol Rice died. She had joined the church in 1958. In our meditation, contemplation, and prayer, Afghanistan and other places of conflict and restrictions and upheaval are on our minds. And there is weather and climate. Today, especially in Louisiana, with Hurricane Ida expected to hit near or in New Orleans on the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. We have thoughts of health, especially our continuing coronavirus pandemic, but also for so many in our congregation and in the world facing cancer. Note that I completed radiotherapy Friday for my current treatment of multiple myeloma. Thank you. And we meditate, contemplate, pray about other serious illness, the treatment of which at times is being affected by the immediate need to care for COVID patients. If you haven't been vaccinated and are eligible to receive one, please do so as soon as you can. This is the time of year that backpacks of all those returning to school might be blessed. Many of our kids and teachers will be going back to school online. We've never had a back-to-school moment quite like this one. Many others continue to learn, work, and connect from home more than ever before, using our phones, tablets, and computers. Today, instead of blessing the backpacks, we're going to bless our laptops and other devices. That includes not just teachers and students, but people working from home and those who simply use the technology without a direct tie to school or work. This is for everybody. All can be connected. If your device is easily within reach, grab it. Your phone, your laptop, your tablet, whatever you might use to connect to others during this time of COVID-19. Hold the device in your hands or lay your hands on it. I invite you to ground yourself in your chair. Feel the weight of your body on the chair. Feel your feet root into the earth. And allow your gaze to become soft. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Breathe in. Breathing in, feel the connection to your fellow Unitarian Universalists. Breathe out. Breathing out, thank your device for the connection to the community. Breathe in. Breathing in, cast your mind back to the generations of Universalists and Unitarians who met difficult times and kept going. Breathe out. Breathing out, thank your device for helping you meet difficult times and keep going. Breathe in. Breathing in, feel in your hands the power to bless. Breathe out. Breathing out, bless your own device. Know that this power to bless is a breath and always available to you. You are sacred, and that energy runs through your hands, through the hands of all the Unitarian Universalists gathered. You are part of that interdependent network, the interdependent web of all existence. We are better because of you, because of your blessings. I invite you back into this space with open eyes and open hearts. Know that our differences make us stronger. As computer geeks say, differences are a feature, not a bug. Whenever you may feel tempted toward doubt or division, remember that the power of blessing is in your own hands, and you are blessed. May you go forth to love and bless much. Let's observe 1 minute of silence.
Our reading today was written by Chris Dancy from Don't Unplug: How Technology Saved My Life and Can Save Yours Too. This is the end of the epilogue from this book. We don't need a virtual reality. We have a reality. We don't need innovation. We need compassion. We don't need to fix the problems of our world with technology. We need to fix technology with our human spirit. I hope I live long enough to see a world where we all kiss more in autonomous cars, where we download memories and relive the good times and bad. I want to share my love in a way that connects it to someone I care about. While I don't know if I will ever see this time, I know my data will, because I didn't unplug. I kept going, and so should you.
This August, I've been giving a series of screen time sermons, talking about social media, digital newspapers, streaming video, and today, my iPhone, iPad, and laptop. These addresses have primarily been based on the way I use connectivity and technology, the me and of the sermon titles. But I've tried to relate them to spirituality, to religious practice as well. After all, remember that among our Unitarian Universalist principles is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And I say computer searching is included in that free responsibility. And also remember that our faith tradition is not sealed, which means that new things can provide revelation for us. So we might find something that stirs the soul even online, not just in Scripture. By using the devices, by what is on the screens, by our engagement with the world's real and digital. We have some quotations in today's service by Chris Dancy, author of the book Don't Unplug: How Technology Saved My Life and Can Save Yours Too, which he wrote in 2018 and I found at a dollar store when I was there with my wife Jewel and with my iPhone, which doesn't have a name. I'm not on that close of terms with technology. Yes, I read an actual book to prepare for this sermon on digital technology, and I'll be quoting from it today. Chris Dancy is billed as the world's most connected person, not in terms of social connection, but because he has connected himself very thoroughly via the internet with monitors and apps or computer applications of all types for health, well-being, measurement of different things, and so on. And he has used that connectivity growing over the decades for his self-improvement. From the descriptions in his book, he really did turn his life around from being an isolated, drug-dependent loner into a healthy, loved nerd. And he used his connectivity to increase his spirituality, becoming a Buddhist along the way only a few years ago. In Don't Unplug, Chris Dancy wrote, "Using technology for spiritual practices goes against everything we teach in today's culture. The one set of people whose advice we might take seriously in becoming more mindful, the Buddhists, advocate in fact for a world where technology is completely abandoned. If you have ever had the chance to visit a meditation retreat, you'll quickly discover that all books, pens, paper, and even clocks are carefully hidden away in these spaces. But I am advocating the need for a deep spiritual practice that includes technology. Spirituality has played some small part in every piece of technology innovation over the past 500 years. The first books ever printed on a movable type press were Bibles. Within years of the advent of radio and TV, we had televangelism being piped into our living rooms. And no sooner was the first web page put up, and by the way, the web was invented by Tim Berners-Lee, a British Unitarian. No sooner was the first web page put up than there were chat groups for Christians. Yet today, when we think of technology and spirituality, too often we focus on radical fringe religious groups, transhumanists, biohackers, and singularitarians who are followers of the Ray Kurzweil ideology that computers and artificial intelligence will and should wake up. Chris Stancy continues, spirituality is part of our technological journey whether we like it or not. And mindfulness and meditation apps are just the obvious spiritual tools for people seeking a little extra redemption through their phones. But there are so many other outlets for the deeper good in the universe if you look closely at our technology consumption. Viral videos of someone doing something good, Facebook disaster check-ins to help find missing loved ones, or the onslaught of patrons for GoFundMe campaigns have become today's digital churches, where we band together to help the people in our communities through life's toughest battles. And that ends his long quote. One of the reasons I chose to speak on screen time is that we people have different ways of interacting with technology and of relating to one another. And the use of our electronic devices, especially the ones with screens, has added something to our relating with one another, added both technologically and physically. And in my August sermons, I usually try to point out spirituality where we might not commonly think it's a component. So Don't Unplug had some effect on me. Someone who is, to a degree, plugged in. Some of us are tethered to smartphones, and the devices might vibrate or make noises, letting the user know that there's something new for them to process. They might almost always be holding their smartphone, or at least have it easily within reach. And that can irritate others, can't it? I don't quite have that bond, but I do like to have my phone on me, and I'll check the screen from time to time to see what the notifications are, which could be messages from someone directly to me, or Facebook or Twitter informing me that an acquaintance has made a social media post. So sometimes potentially important, more often something I could have ignored. Plus, my smartphone is my main telephone these days. And though I could be better about using the actual telephone function and reaching out to others with my voice rather than by written text, message, or email, I seem to avoid the phone part of my smartphone. And that seems to result in more spam calls than real ones, made easier for me to detect in some ways by my not having a Toledo area code. I got my first iPhone in Chicago in 2007, and I ended up with a phone plan cost I'm a bit scared to disturb because I might see the rates rise. But that also means if I get a call from the 312 area, it's likely not to be a real person on the other end of the line. But telephones are now extensions of many of us today, no matter where we are. And we can't be completely idle with the phones in our grasp. And we get to tablets, mine being the iPad you see here and on the cover of the Order of Service, part of my work equipment as senior minister. So this was a professional expense and has Toledo Unitarians engraved on it at no extra charge when it was ordered. If you look closely at the picture, you can see in the Apple logo the reflection that the photo was taken by my iPhone. With the tablet, kind of a mini computer, I can extend my range in a way. It has all the features of my iPhone except for the phone part, basically. We came close to a time when smartphones were getting almost this big, and that could still happen. For now, at least, my iPad helps me to do some work and, yes, spend some slack time online, on the go, as if I have a go that actually calls for that. It has certainly helped during the pandemic with Zoom meetings, for example. The laptop is my actual office computer. Back in the olden days, I would have had a desktop computer, probably with a large monitor anchored on my desk. But now laptops are versatile devices with lots of computing power, so I have portability while being able to do things like video and graphic design and sermon writing. You don't see my laptop today because it's used on Sunday mornings as a teleprompter, so I can read while looking at the camera, at you, rather than you're looking at me looking down at another screen. But yes, the way I work these days, what you get is me and my iPhone, iPad, and laptop. I hope you aren't put off by my having these devices near. I was in work of connectivity before I entered the ministry. A trained reference librarian, I like to help people find information, so I have Google close by. A trained journalist, I like to share things to know, so I have at hand in a way. And being a curious person, I like having the internet available almost instantly sometimes, and being a resource or a conduit for finding information. Please don't think that when I turn to a device when we're together, that I'm distracted or bored by you, that I'm looking for something better than to be in conversation. That isn't what's happening. I think, at least for me, I look for ways to supplement, to add to what we're talking about. And yes, I admit it, sometimes I do want to see what's on my smartphone, so I'll give a glance of distraction. I'm human. I don't think it matters whether a person is an introvert or an extrovert for this type of usage. It seems more the curious human than a personality aspect. Remember, we're the beings that learned to use thumbs to text on Blackberries, for example, and developed new kinds of muscle strain as a result. And that has evolved into thumb typing on a very tiny touch screen. So we are going to let a little machine have its way. And Chris Dancy wrote, "We no longer go to the internet, we are the internet. Just as a smartphone isn't very useful without a person tethered to it. The internet is nothing without us." And then there are those of us who pretty much shun any connectivity. Whether we missed what might have been our window for learning how to use computers. In the 1980s, after college, I realized I was falling behind. And a couple of times since, I have done work to learn and catch up some with computers and technology. Or perhaps we developed ideals that electronic media is somehow lesser than print, and some of us extend that to books as the only true way of knowledge. Please don't forget about direct experience, the first of our Unitarian Universalist sources of our living tradition. We haven't engaged with technology and get resentful when technology seems to attack us. I don't want to see that happen, and I know it does. I want you to get past frustrations and learn at least enough basics that you might be inspired to explore. There's much good that technology can help us have. And outside of the printed word, there is education, information, entertainment, including on screens. Be open to other ways of learning than just words on paper. Be open to other ways of communication, of interaction, even of intimacy. Could you try to think more than judge? Chris Dancy wrote in Don't Unplug, while it may be a popular opinion to believe we are hopelessly addicted to our technology in a food-sensitive, ADHD, hyper-distracted world, it's not my belief at all. And I hope it won't be yours when we are done. So let's explore technological wisdom, which I define as the ability to remove judgment from your interactions with computing. Actually, I think it's a lot to ask. Removing judgment is a tall order for most people, especially when it comes to technology and our use of it. Judgment is, after all, Dancy continues, the key operating principle of technology and humanity. We share that with our mechanical friends. Machines just judge more rapidly than we do. What is a computer but a series of ones and zeros that get turned on and off? Each decision is the blink of an eye, an instantaneous yes or no. The judgment I'm talking about is what you experience with many people most of the time when interacting with today's technology, social systems, and devices. Judgment comes spilling out of us so naturally. Spelling mistakes in emails we receive, text messages when someone should be asleep, the Facebook photos of the too perfect vacation shot from the beach, or the screenshot of 25,000 steps on your first day off the sofa after a bout of depression. Technology is breeding a type of cynicism about our fellow humans, Dancy says, by rewarding certain behaviors and hiding others. Technology then goes a step further by removing interactions with strangers. There is not a lot of talking in a world of frictionless commerce. To be technologically wise, we have to focus on ways to decrease our judgment by examining our bias and changing the way we use our technology. I'll add that call to change includes the heavy users of technology. It's not just to stay plugged in, but to make the systems better. And that, in our liberal religion of Unitarian Universalism, we do try to judge less and welcome more, don't we? Like Chris Dancy, and I hope better than I do, though I try to work well with technology, be plugged in to a degree at least near your level of comfort. Give new ways of seeing, doing, being a chance. And let the technology become part of the conversation, too. Dancy wrote, we need to start being more open about our technology use and consumption. Explore what it means to you and what it means to the important people in your life. Trust me, if your browser history is important to Google, your Facebook friends are important to Facebook, and your location is important to Apple, your life could and should be that important to you and your friends. You don't need to understand the latest technology or services, Dancy says, to talk about how you use them or why. The conversations we lost to technology can be rekindled by talks about how we use the technology. And that includes this one-way conversation on me and my iPhone, iPad, and laptop, and this series on screen time. It's out there. Let's talk about it. By talking, we get to know one another better. And by knowing one another, we build community. What helps to support community? Technology. Let's find the good in all of it and use it to make the world better, starting with ourselves. So be it.
We come now to a time of offering. If you are so moved to support this organization, you can find out more about us at uutoledo.org. If you'd like to follow the links in the YouTube description box,
Soon portion of our service. Next week's Spiritual Adventures Forum is not listed in our order of service, and I'm not sure that it might be because we'll have an outdoor service next week and it will be Labor Day weekend, so perhaps the Spiritual Affairs Forum might be taking a break. But if you log into Zoom hoping it does appear, give it a reasonable amount of time to be admitted, but don't hang on too long. And better, perhaps, please come on over to First Unitarian next week for the outdoor service. And next week's 11 a.m. service is on Labor, as it's Labor Day weekend. It's outdoors at the church, remember, in our backyard. Bring some food and make a picnic of the social time after.
and if you'd like some social time today, please join us on Zoom after today's service. That meeting code and link is available again in the YouTube description box. We hope to see you there, and visitors are warmly welcomed.
And we're hijacking the coming soon part now to thank Bonnie Rowe again for her work for the Toledo Unitarians. Bonnie does a lot, you know, as a volunteer and has served in many ways. But now she's moving aside as our staff accompanist. So today is her final Sunday service as our accompanist. As I understand it, her schedule as a piano teacher is heavier, and this Sunday gig sometimes doesn't fit well with everything else Bonnie is doing. She decided it was time to stop as our pianist. I'm pretty sure that once conditions permit choir to get going again, she'll be part of our Sunday music again. And I would think there could be an oboe solo or two to come as well. In the meantime, while we seek another accompanist, and if you're watching at home and want to audition, contact our music director, Mickey Emsch. There will be different musicians week to week giving us accompaniment or other musical offerings. Fortunately for all of us, it doesn't shift to just me playing electric guitar instead. Bonnie, we appreciate all that you do. We thank you for serving this community so well and look forward to continued involvement as you're comfortable doing so. And please keep singing, playing, and teaching. And I think Mickey also wants to say something, but here, hidden in plain sight, is for you. You get flowers today.
We are so grateful for everything you do, and we are not saying goodbye because you're never allowed to go anywhere. But we adore you and are grateful for all of your beautiful artistry and your playing piano and oboe and bells and singing and the life you bring to our musical ministry. I love you. Yes.
And now back to the service with our closing words, which
Yes.
Mickey will offer.
I've got those here. These are Keep Singing by Aaron J. Walter. This reading from the Unitarian Universalist Braver, Wiser series opens with a quotation by Patti Smith. In times of strife, we have our imagination, we have our creative impulse, which are things that are more important than material things. They are things we should magnify. This is Keep Singing by Aaron J. Walter. When I can't sleep, which is often in pandemic life, I reach for the comfort and inspiration offered by fellow musicians. Since we cannot perform much in person these days, the Songwriters on Songwriting interview series has become a personal sacred text, mostly because it motivates me to do what I love, sing. After reading just a few words from Michel Negeocello in the late John Prine, I find myself grabbing my daughter's red glitter guitar and whispering song ideas into my phone's memo app. Hokey, but heartfelt lyrics like, God give me strength, we will be together again, and as long as it takes. I've lost count of the songs I've written, or half-written, while sheltering in place. Most are terrible, and you'll never hear them, and that's fine. They're here to process grief with me and tap into hope and determination as I fight to keep my creative process, normally collective, alive in isolation. One favorite new song is called First One to Fall Asleep Wins. I wrote it, of course, when I couldn't sleep. It's a lullaby, but I always growl these lines. Yeah, you swear to yourself, whatever this is, it won't ruin me. Alone in the dark, I sing myself the messages I need to hear. The creative impulse Patti Smith describes has long been considered holy, divine inspiration. I experienced it as living just under the surface of the daily grind, tugging, imploring. When do we all get to sing together again? I suspect I will remember this pandemic as a time I often felt close to ruin. When I lost my job to COVID-19 layoffs, my band couldn't play, my kids struggled, and our churches were confined to computers. When nearly 2 million people worldwide died from COVID-19, and the rest of us grappled with grief at a distance. When we sang hymns on mute. But I pray we also remember and magnify, as Smith says, the moments of creativity and wonder, the dance classes over Zoom, the books cherished in quiet moments, our practices of resilience and mutual aid, of grace and forgiveness. And of course, I take heart that even on mute or alone in the dark, we kept singing.
And as we send the flame into the world, with Mickey extinguishing it from the chalice, but sending it forth, let's send our flame today onto screens, phone screens, tablet screens, computer screens, TV screens, movie screens, even billboard screens, letting Unitarian Universalism be part of the light for our devices, our education, information, entertainment, and amusement, our building beloved community.